Hey guys, how's it going? Richard here. Welcome to episode 2. First, I want to say thank you so much for the amazing feedback that I've gotten. I'm going to get to some of these questions here later on. But just amazing feedback, amazing interaction and engagement that you guys gave me about my first episode of the podcast. Now, granted, I'm not a pro. I am a rookie, so I am bound to make mistakes. But with every mistake is a lesson, and I'll make it better. So thanks to you guys and giving me your tips and tricks. Greatly appreciate it. I had a comment the other day from a good friend of mine saying that they listen to the podcast at night because the music and the sound of my voice is soothing. So I hope that is the case to some people. Maybe I might turn myself into like a Delilah show or something. I don't know. I know I don't have the music capabilities, but I do have, some wisdom and some, um, you know, some some ideas that I want to share with everyone. Also, if you guys have an issue with if you guys need help with like something in your romantic life, or if you want to give out a pointers, please go ahead and leave me a like little voice clip message. It should be attached to this link down in the description notes. So go ahead and check that out, or shoot me a message on Instagram. I'll make sure I'll leave those links in the show notes below, so that way you guys have somewhere to reach out to me on. But yeah, so let's get into the show, shall we? Let's go ahead and start with our first commercial break, and then we'll go ahead and start with today's show. Again, thank you for joining, and let's rock it out. Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you guys can make it with us. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the question that I received from one of our listeners. The question was, how do you um, how do you adapt to something that traumatic, or how do you get over something like that? And it was simple, for a little bit, anyways. And that was having people that would listen, getting perspectives from everyone and trying to get a point of view, right? My tendency was I would post everything on Facebook. Was it the wrong thing to do? Probably. But it was the only way that I could let out, because at the time I didn't have really much of a circle. I don't have many friends out there, so that's why I really turned to live streams, or I don't do the whole social bar scene, if that makes sense. I'm more of an enclosed type. I try to find people within the same interest, right? So when I post stuff on Facebook, it's like, okay, well, bound to get some whiplash out of this, just to let yourself know, if you're to post something on Facebook, just know that you might get some positives and negatives on what you post on Facebook. And I learned the hard way, coming from that. And did I make some bad mistakes? Yeah, probably. And I mean, there's things that I probably shouldn't have posted on Facebook, but I did it anyways. Why? Because I am as stubborn as they come. Anybody can tell you that. From my mother to my exes, they can definitely tell you that Richard is stubborn. But persistency is key. You got to be persistent, and I've learned that. Someone told me that. An ex-girlfriend used to tell me that you are very persistent, and it will either be the death of you, or it will be your shining light. So persistency goes a long ways. There's a time and a place for everything, though. And I've noticed a lot lately that the art of romance, and this is going to the guys, right? Because the girls are looking exactly for this, right? The art of romance, okay? You guys lost it. I mean, for those of you guys who just want to get in and get out, you guys fucking lost it. Like, girls do not want to be in and out. I mean, granted, yes, there is the few that want friends with benefits and that's it. But for those big few that just wants a man to be just be romantic, how often do you hear a woman complain that her relationship is not romantic? Guys, be romantic. It will go a long way. Trust me. If you are romantic, if you do something like nice, right? Like make your girl some dinner, draw her a bath, ask her how her day is. Don't be about you. Ask her how her day is. Don't be this guy, right? Don't be the guy that that hides away in the room and does nothing but watch TV while your girlfriend or your wife is in the other room, crying her eyes out or is just upset at the day. Do not be that guy, because that guy is going to be in a failed relationship and you're going to be living solo by the rest of your life. And then again, ladies, do not be that girl that doesn't ask your man, how his day was, because then he's going to think something's up. Because I've been in a few relationships really that it's always been one-sided. There's been a relationship or two that, I would be like, hey babe, how's your day? Oh, my day is going fucking fabulous. Had to do X, Y, and Z. Just fucking great. And I don't feel good. Okay, cool. Never asked how my day was. No siree, Bob. And try to put effort. It's a 50-50 relationship. Do not take 99-1. No way. That should not even be a relationship. You do what you can and make them happy. That is the key. Because if you're just gonna take in 99% you, 1% them, then that's not a relationship. That's not fair. Is it fair to you? Is that what you want? Because if that's what you want, that's what you're gonna get for the rest of your life. You're gonna get someone that is not going to put any effort into the relationship. None. You deserve much better than that. You deserve everything. And ladies, please don't be that girl that talks about herself day in and day out and expect us to care. It does not work that way. It doesn't. I hate to say it that way. It doesn't. Because then we become, us men, we become distant. We don't want to deal with you. So don't be that. Don't be that girl. Don't be that woman. Because both ends deserve much better. Much better. I've had a couple of friends who have been hurt. Like, big time. And it was for the simplest shit, too. It's like, so I had a friend who had just lost a relative. And the guy she was with just didn't care. Was like, okay, well, that's cool. When can I come over? Like, bro, she just lost a family member. What the fuck's wrong with you? Show some fucking compassion. That is a true scumbag right there. A true fucking scumbag. And I'm sorry, because normally I try my best to keep my explicitness to a minimum. But this is my podcast. Just saying. If you don't like it, kick rocks. But today's show is going to be amazing. I know I've been off on a little tangent, a little rant. It's been hectic. I've been, like, people are asking, when am I shooting out another podcast? I'm trying to do it on my days off of work, because my days off of work are minimal. And especially when it comes to having the house quiet. Like right now, I am so grateful that the house is quiet. It's a Wednesday. It's my off day. After this, I'm probably going to stream for a little bit. I might watch a movie. I might just chill and we'll just watch a movie and just say the hell with it. I could always play video games later on or whatever. But there's a day and time to do you. You got to do you. For those of us who work at home, you know exactly what I mean. You're always in front of the computer. You're not really doing anything for you. You're doing everything for your work, right? And then you happen to see the same four walls every day. So, I mean, get out, go to the backyard, relax, go to the pool. I mean, hell, I know most places are not that cold. I was talking to a customer yesterday in California, and they're like, well, I'm going to enjoy the sun now because tomorrow it's going to rain. And I said, well, even if it does rain, you got a patio, I'm sure. And they're like, yeah. I said, okay, you can barbecue. They're like, hey, you got a good point. So you really got to think there. Sorry, got parched. Again, it seems like every time I do a podcast, really, I'm always thirsty doing something. Like thirsty. So I do apologize. Oh, man. And now I got to sneeze. Goodness. Oh, I'm going to hold it. Nope. Okay. Anyways. It's one of those unexpected sneeze, too. It's like it's creeping up on you. Gotta love it. By the way, if you guys want shout outs or anything, if you guys want me to promote things like your podcast, if you guys have a podcast, or if you guys want to interview me and ask me things, more than welcome to it. Go for it. What else can I say? If you guys want to shout outs for TikTok, just let me know. Let me know how I can help you. Ask me questions. I want to be able to help people. And that's what I feel like my podcast is unfortunately going to turn into. And I mean, unfortunately, in a good way, not in a bad way. I want to be able to help people. And that's what I want to do. Like, if you're feeling like you're if you're having a crummy day, I want you to not have a crummy day. I want you to be successful. I want you to be, like, fuck, I got this, I want you to be excited for your day. I don't want you to be, bored or depressed or anything. Let me know how I can help you. And as I'm saying all this, I got an itchy throat now. That's perfect. So next week's podcast, we are going to talk about my military life. Or that might change. Eventually, I will get to military life. I know people had questions about it. Let me just say this. My military life is not what it's written out to be. Everybody has their story. I definitely have my story, and I want to share it. And it's pretty fucked up. Let me just say this. For the most of you guys that have been friends with me for the longest of time, you guys know the story. But just know that next week's episode is going to be an eye-opener, and you will be in disbelief. Now, just so you know, I will always and forever support my military. Will always support my military, But the dirt that they wanted, that they will do, it will surprise you, definitely. And I'm probably gonna get some shade on it, but oh well. It's my story. It's how it went down. So stay tuned for that next Wednesday. For that going up. For episode 3. Depending how we do. I want to say hello to everyone who is listening. So let's get into it. We're already 11 minutes into this show. Got a lot of things covered. Already answered a question. Let's go into my upbringing. I know this probably should have been episode 1, to be honest with you. But I got into the whole ex-wife, my first ex-wife. And by the way, I haven't been married since. I want to get married, but I haven't been married since the ex-wife, right? Cool. Let's just put that out there. But going back, let's go back in time. Let's go back to August 13th, 1987, the summer of 87, right? New York. This little fluff ball of a baby is born. And my mom, who did everything she could, she was an amazing mom, and still is an amazing mom. I'm never going to take anything away from her. She is an amazing parent. So here's the thing, right? My dad, everybody asks about my dad. He was he, I guess, had an affair um with my mom, or actually he was married when he had an affair to my mom, if that makes sense. So he was cheating on his wife with my mom. And I don't think my mom knew. I could pretty sure my mom did not know. And his ex-wife was batshit crazy and shot and killed him, or had him killed. There's two sides of the story, right? The first side is he was going to the hospital and was shot and killed at the hospital because he had ties with the mob. The second story is that she had invited him. They had a falling out, and she had invited him over for dinner, and she served him a plate of food and shot him in the back of the head and fell face first. And so the sentencing was she pled that she was guilty, but only got a sentence for, I forget what the sentence was. I mean, it's pretty stupid. She's literally not in prison. Let me just say that right now. She is not in prison right now. She's out walking around this earth like nothing. I know in the Jodi Arias case, if you guys remember that story, she got time for killing the love of her life. And to my dad's other half, you know, she walks away freely. She's not even serving time. If anybody knows the words that I'm trying to think, let me know. But yeah, that's fucked up. So I grew up my whole life, and my mom thought for the longest of time, right? So he died in 91. My mom, for the longest of times, thought he was still alive, that he was just a deadbeat dad, right? So as I get older, I ask about my dad, and me and my mom had a falling out. There's been a couple times that me and her fell out. There's times that I actually went and lived with my mom's parents, with my grandparents, who to me, my biological father will always be my grandfather. He always brought me up to be respectful. He always brought me up to know what was wrong and right in life. And I have to thank him for bringing me up the way he did. I mean, yes, he taught me to be strong, but I'm also emotionally adapted. Like it's weird. It's hard to explain it. I am that guy that I will give you my whole emotion, take it or leave it, right? So with that being said, so my whole life, I wouldn't say my whole life, most of my life, my grandparents raised me. But growing up, my mom thought that he was just a deadbeat dad. She didn't know he died. My dad, until a few years ago, when I had found my stepsister on my dad's side, and we talked, and you know, we got to know each other, and she told me the story of, yeah, that crazy bitch killed him. That was just flat out the answer. That crazy bitch killed him. And I had pictures of my dad, you know, and I still have pictures saved to my phone of when he was younger, and I showed it to my stepsister. She's like, "Yep, that's him." She's like, "We definitely have the same dad." And then I told her what my middle name is, and that was his first name, and so this whole time, my mom just thought, you know, because she hasn't heard from anything, he wasn't chasing after her, nothing. She thought that he was just giving up. And when I told her that, no, he died, she just broke down in tears. She told me that that was her first love. And even though she's married now, that could never be replaced. Now, it wasn't to say it was to hurt my stepdad now, right? But she said it to She said it because it's true, right? You could never forget your first love. Never. Unless it was a really bad relationship, you'll never forget them, right? So for her, it was to hear that kind of put closure for her, and assured her that it wasn't her fault. So moving on from that, so that was a thing. So then, between moving with my grandparents and going back and forth, because every time me and my mom had a falling out, I would always go back to my grandparents. Um, I would do better with my grandparents than I would with my mom, because I didn't always agree with her tactics of bringing someone up. Even if it wasn't my fault, I was always still getting punished, right? And that's how it is when you have more than one siblings in the house. So then I went into, I did my schooling. I did well. And then that's when it led up to my first marriage after my military career, which I will bring up next week. But my grandfather, man, the stories I can tell about this guy, and I think I'll go ahead and use up the last 10 minutes to tell you a little bit about him. He was a gentle giant, right? My uncle is like 7'2". He works corrections, and everyone just fears him. They fear him. And my grandfather, he always told me, he said, Richard, in life, you will break. There'll be times that you'll wake up smiling, and then there'll be times that you don't want to wake up at all. And the one thing that kept him going was me, because I was his first grandkid. And to some respect, I was his favorite. He claimed he never had a favorite, but in the family, we all knew who the favorite grandkid was. It was kind of like the mob thing, where the mob boss always had his favorites, right? And I don't want to take anything away from my grandmother. My grandmother was a very big part of our life. The only thing I didn't understand is that why they slept in separate rooms. My grandmother would sleep on the couch. My grandfather would sleep in the extra room. I never got why they wouldn't sleep in the same bed, but they would never marry. They were common law marriage, right? That's another subject on its own. But me and my grandfather, we did things a lot. We did everything together. We would go shopping every weekend, just me and him, and we would go out for pizza. That would be our thing. Either before or after we go grocery shopping, we used to live in Boca, which is an hour. So if you're in Miami, it's an hour north of Miami. We would go to Boca, and we would just sit and talk and have pizza. And he would just say, "Hey, why aren't you and your mom getting along?" And the stories that I would tell him, not really stories, right? But just the things I would tell him were just heartbreaking, because I don't think, and not to discredit my mother at all, but I don't think she had the right tools to know how to care for a baby in the beginning. And my grandparents gave me everything. They gave me my first computer. I'm going to try not to break down, because, just thinking of them now, it hurts. Because I wish he was here. I wish he was here to see the man that I've become. And I'm pretty sure wherever he's at now, he will see that I'm happy. fuck. um, and I hate dead air, but just when I lost him, and I lost him, 2010, so 11 years ago, I lost myself. When he died, I lost myself. And those of you guys who have seen pictures of me when I was thinner, and especially this picture that's posted right now, the art picture that is posted from my podcast, that was during my marriage. That was out of the army, at my fittest. And then I think that picture was taken after, or before my grandfather had passed. And when my grandfather passed, I lost myself. It's like I gave up on me, because that man was my go-to. That he was, when I had an issue, he was my go-to guy. And when he left, and it's sad because he died the day, like, I had a conversation with him, because again, me and my ex-wife had a falling out, and me and him had a discussion, and then the next morning he passed. And I didn't know about that until I turned on my phone, and then I saw these messages, right? And then I called my grandmother, and I wanted to see if it was true. And my uncle was there yelling and screaming and blaming me for his death. And that ate at me. That really ate at me. To where I wanted to go see the funeral, but he had that motherfucker, right? My uncle hated the factor that I was the favorite. And he barred me from going to the funeral because he had stroke and he was using his power. So it hurt me because I couldn't go see the funeral. So I got depressed, and so I gained weight, and I blamed myself for his death because of what my uncle told me, because he kept on saying it was my fault. Until this day, there's times that I feel like it's still my fault. So all I have to say in closing to this podcast, right, is don't feel like it's your fault. Because I'm sure that when they are gone, whoever it is, that they would want you to be happy. They don't want you to be blaming yourself because you think it's your fault for something. Don't feel like that you never got to say goodbye. Know that you got to say goodbye. Because had I known that he was going to die, I would have said my goodbyes. Instead, I told him I'll see you later. Oh, man. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to take a minute or two to recoup. I'm going to give you guys my final thought. And we will see you next Wednesday. I love you guys. And coming up next is my final thought. All right, guys, and here is the thought of this episode. So the last thought is what I'm gonna call it. Make sure you tell the ones that are near and dear to your heart that you love them. Show them that you care. Don't be shy and run away from loving someone. Take the time, do something special, do something sweet. Surprise them unexpectedly. Don't tell them what you're going to do, just do it. Could be as little as doing the dishes or, giving them a phone call and say, hey, just wanted to say how special you are to me, or hey, I just wanted to say I love you. I don't think I tell you enough. And from me to you, for those of you guys who are listening, I love your fucking faces. Until next week, be true to yourself, stay in each other's company, and love one another. Also, before I go, there is show notes down below. Please, 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 if you have any questions or if you want a shout out or something, make sure you read the show notes. I will post an audio link that you'll click to. It'll bring you to Anchored. And you'll be able to leave like a voice clip that I'll play on air if you want me to. Just be clear and let me know, yes, play on air, or, just listen to yourself and answer on air. And I'll make sure I do that. Also, I'll put my social media links down below as well. All right. So that concludes today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want me to do a longer podcast, I will. But I hope this will do you guys some justice. Until next time, let me know what you guys think, either weekly or daily. And if it's weekly, then I will see you next Wednesday. Love your faces.